Welcome to college football presented by Best Buy. Today from Kyle Field in College Station, Texas, it's the Texas Longhorns against the Texas A&M Aggies. Ron Franklin, Ed Cunningham, and Jack Arute coming to you from a capacity house at Kyle Field. Texas won the toss. They have deferred to the second half, so we will see the Aggies go on offense first as Hunter Lawrence prepares to kick it off for the Texas Longhorns. Franks and Brown, the dual safety back for A&M, and we are underway. It's a high spinner. It's going to come down short at the 16-yard line. This is Brown. Pierre Brown tries to take it to the outside and is going to be knocked out of bounds at the 35-yard line.
Stephen McGee will come out. His first start in college was 2005 against Texas when Reggie McNeil was hurt here in Kyle Field, and it's been not as much about the pass this year as it has been about the run, although he can be effective. I think they had a bye week. Stephen McGee was fairly beat up throughout the season, had 35 carries against Nebraska. I think that bye week, after 14 straight weeks of camp and games, really helped Mr. McGee.
Mike Goodson will open the game at tailback for the Aggies as you look at head coach Mack Brown for the Texas Longhorns. Goodson, a sophomore out of Klein, paid at Collins High School, and they swing the ball out to him, and Texas very quickly on defense will knock him down for a 3-yard loss. Ryan Palmer, the first man to get out there and make the hit. And Dennis Francione on the near side of the field. Some people think it could be his last game on the sideline. We'll elaborate on that more as the afternoon goes on.
And our conversations with him this week obviously wanted just to focus on this. You know, this is about his senior day for these Aggies, looking for their second win in a row against Texas. That's much bigger to him than any news about his future, and he tries to get the focus on that.
Alexander at fullback. The pitch goes back to Goodson. Goodson is hit and knocked down for another loss. This time of 3, and it's free safety Marcus Griffin who came in and got penetration.
Already mentioned that Texas A&M comes in off a bye week, but so does Texas. And when you're getting ready to play what is a triple option team, here just a speed option, you have extra time for your safeties and your corners to work on their run support. That time, excellent job by Griffin getting upfield and stopping the pitch. That's excellent defense against the pitch man.
Third down, A&M needs to take it out to their own 44-yard line, and big Javorsky Lane comes in at tailback. 6 feet, 271 pounds out of Lufkin. Now a whistle and a flag.
False start on the offense, number 2. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Irvin Taylor, senior out of Mission, Texas.
And this is not obviously where the Aggies are good offensively. When they get to a third and very long situation, this is not their forte. Not many offenses are, other than maybe a place like Texas Tech. But this is not what Texas A&M wants to do on their first drive, is be going backwards.
Third down and 20 for Texas A&M. Gonna run. Now going to throw, lobs it out, and he's got a man open at the 40. That's Javorsky Lane, and Lane may have the first down, and in fact he will at the 45-yard line.
Well, that was a very nice job by Stephen McGee running parallel to the line of scrimmage. It looked like he had committed to the run, and I think all of the white shirts thought the same thing. That's what you expect out of McGee, to think run first instead of pass. But right there, as he started running parallel to the line of scrimmage, you could see the linebackers coming up and leaving Lane alone. And Lane, as big as he is, has turned into a pretty good receiver out of the backfield this season.
Palmer made the tackle. First down, Texas A&M at their own 46. Pass thrown complete, another first down inside the 40 and down to the 38-yard line. That's Irving Taylor on the receiving end of that Stephen McGee pass.
Boy, Stephen McGee looks a lot fresher. You know, he's battled some arm problems. He had a pulled muscle in his arm a couple of years ago. He strained it in the spring, and you get the sense that the coaches feel that week off has really helped him. Got him comfortable, and they come out throwing a lot more. They ran 2 options to start, but now allowing McGee to sling it around, which he did a fine job of in high school.
Aggies this time come out in a 2 tight end alignment, and they come option to the open side of the field. Goodson. And Goodson is going to be stopped after a gain of 3 by Lamar Houston.
Well, Mack Brown comes into Aggie land. Very good record against Texas A&M, and looking to become Texas looking to win 10 games for their 7th year in a row. It's an amazing run that Mack Brown has the Longhorns on, and if they can get a win today and or in their bowl game, it'll be 7 straight years with 10 or more wins. Pretty impressive.
Good start from McGee. 3 of 3 for 36 yards so far. Blitz coming from Texas from the short side of the field. Pass thrown complete, and Goodson stays on his feet at the 30, 25, cuts it back inside, and he may score. 10-5, touchdown, Mike Goodson, 35 yards. Replay, you'll see Brian Orakpo about to blow up the whole play. He missed the tackle on Goodson, and it cost Texas 6. Szymanski to attempt the extra point, trying to put A&M up 7-0 in the first 3.5 minutes. So the kick is up, and it is good.
Well, they're going to run the screen, and as it gets out here, it's the missed tackle, but watch the block up top. An excellent job downfield by Michael Corey. There's the missed tackle you mentioned by Orakpo. Good balance. But watch Corey knocked his man all the way off the field, goes to chase him and continues chasing him. That was excellent job by Goodson. He cut back away from him knowing Corey was going to trail. That's great vision and great balance to get out of that arm tackle.
So a play that came within a breath of being a loss of 3 to 4 yards winds up being a 35-yard touchdown.
And when you talk to Dwayne Aquina, the co-defensive coordinator at Texas, this is the guy that he was most concerned about. Mike Goodson did it to him last year up in Austin. He had a 41-yard touchdown run on an option that looked like it was dead in the backfield, not unlike that screen there. But the coaches at Texas said Mike Goodson reminds us of Jamal Charles, the speedster on our group. That's the guy they were worried about.
Stephen McGee perfect on the series. 4 of 4 for 71 yards. Kickoff will go 5 yards deep, and Cosby will not return it. Let's go down to the sideline. The third member of our broadcast team. Here's Jack Arute. Jack?
How amped up is Stephen McGee and this Aggie team? Well, after that touchdown, Stephen McGee went all the way down the sidelines, guys, and high-fived every member of the team. There's a lot at stake today. Also, I think it's a tribute to their coach.
You know, and Jack, as difficult as this season has been, Stephen McGee has not flinched one time in his support of his coach, showing up to media day when he has to be in there, answered every difficult question through the email scenario with Coach Franchione. He has not flinched one time. He's been in his coach's corner, and of course, this is as big as it gets.
Colt McCoy opens at quarterback for Texas. Play action. Looking. Going to go long, deep over the middle, and the ball is overthrown. Intended for Quan Cosby, just across midfield, incomplete.
And Colt McCoy has really played himself. If you go back to last year when he had to be carted off the field in Austin against A&M in that loss, the last 5 games for Colt McCoy have been sensational. And a lot of that has to do with the development of the zone read play, again, that was used so much when Vince Young was the quarterback. But that's why Texas has been able to run the ball so effectively in the last 4 or 5 ball games.
So if you just joined us, A&M 7, Texas nothing. 11.5 minutes to play. And the first carry of the afternoon by Jamal Charles. And Charles is going to have a gain of about 6 yards in the play before Mark Dodge makes the tackle. We need to explain, Mark, the back of his jersey reads a different name, showing respect for his grandmother and an aunt who have passed away within the past month. So rather than Dodge in the back of his jersey, the number is the same, but the back of his jersey reads Thomas. McCoy throws it complete to tight end Jermichael Finley. And he will have the initial Texas first down of the afternoon at the 31-yard line. Devin Gregg, the free safety, is there to make the tackle for Texas A&M.
Jermichael Finley has really turned into a weapon. A nice balance for Jamal Charles, who's been on a tear. And that was a nice route. He actually ran that on Mark Dodge. He ran right at him, then broke it out and made a nice run to get the first down.
A&M showing blitz off the corner, but they stay at home. Charles looks for a spot to run, and he'll take it out to the 34. Gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Michael Bennett is there to make the stop on Jamal Charles.
And of course, Jamal Charles 2 weeks ago against Texas Tech tweaked his ankle a little bit. The coaches said that the bye week really helped him. Came back, and he has been on an absolute tear. He's getting close to the 1,500-yard mark on the season, which is quite phenomenal because he was basically benched for a few games in the middle of the season for a fumbling problem.
From a shotgun, blitz up the middle. It's picked up. McCoy throws the ball complete. Stepping out of bounds is Finley. And Finley had room to step up enough to pick up the first down, and I'm not sure he realized that at the time.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
It's going to be just over a yard that they'll need to pick up the first down on 3rd.
There's Finley right here. And when he goes out into his route, he's just kind of finding and sitting down. McCoy sees him the whole way, but I agree that he turns back to the inside. He probably picks up the first down.
Charles right at the middle, doesn't matter. He will have the Texas first down. Mark Dodge got just enough of his foot to trip him up. So Dodge, as usual, very active in the ball game and registering a couple of tackles already on this series.
And you mentioned the last name Thomas, his mother's maiden name. His grandmother passed away. It didn't look like he was going to be able to play against Missouri. So Coach Franchione said, you know what, go home. Go be with your family. And then during the bye week, he had an aunt on his mother's side pass away as well. So that's why Thomas is on the back of his jersey today.
Well, that pass by Colt McCoy way overthrown. And McCoy knocked down after the ball was delivered by Kellen Hurd, a sophomore out of Wharton, Texas.
And of course, Kellen Hurd was ejected from last year's ball game for a late hit on Colt McCoy. And that one, even though the hand was up near the face, that's not a late hit. And, you know, McCoy has that tendency sometimes to flop back and fall back. And sometimes I think that can be more dangerous than the actual hit itself. Sometimes you've got to take more of that hit.
Jamal Charles tries to get it to the outside, and he will finally be stopped at the 48-yard line. Now it's going to be 3rd down, Texas, and they need to take it to the A&M 46-yard line. Kellen Hurd with his 2nd tackle.
Well, if you're A&M, you're thinking Jermichael Finley. That's what Colt McCoy has been showing. A&M plays defense very similar to what Texas saw against Texas Tech. Safeties way back, so there's stuff open underneath. If I'm Texas A&M, I'd bring in an extra defensive back, which they have, and put a safety or a corner on Jermichael Finley, not a linebacker, because all he's going to do is probably run an out route.
Obanaya checks into the ball game at tailback, replacing Jamal Charles. McCoy gets the ball away, and unless he's got a receiver close by, that might be intentional grounding, as Henry Smith was all over him. It is 4th down, Texas. No flag on the play. And the Longhorns will have to punt. That was the 9th play of the drive.
Really good early on for A&M. A stunt in the middle. And good pressure so far. It looked like Nate Jones was in the neighborhood at least. But good pressure from the 4. They have not had to blitz the Aggies, but a good stunt in the middle. And remember, this young, thin offensive line, Dallas Griffin, the senior, out. Tony Hill's the senior, out. So they may struggle with movement.
First punt of the afternoon for either team. And Justin Moore with a high-hanging spiral. Fair catch called for at the 10-yard line by Roger Holland. And that's where the Aggies will take it over. 8:42 left in the opening quarter, following a 42-yard boot. And A&M on top, 7-0.
Well, we are so used to seeing in this part of the country, if you've been following the Big 12, A&M come out and be a power running option, triple option team. Well, the drive before, we saw some screens, We saw some drop back passes, things that you really haven't seen much of this season. Let's see if Les Koenig, the offensive coordinator, and of course Dennis Franchione, who is in on the calls, is going to stay with that same plan. I don't know why they wouldn't.
We'd like to welcome those watching the Nebraska-Colorado game. Ron Franklin along with Ed Cunningham and Jack Arute. And our score with 8:20 left in the opening quarters. Texas A&M 7 and the Texas Longhorns nothing. It is a second down, and let's call it about 7.5 yards for A&M, and they have the ball just inside their own 15. Option play back into the boundary. And that's Jaworski Lane. Bobineau defensively for Texas. Number 44 got out there to make the hit. But he had some help from the secondary as well. Bobineau, who, according to Les Koenig, the offensive coordinator for the Texas Aggies, said in watching a lot of video of him that Bobineau has had a sensational year.
And watch number 98 Brian Orakpo get up the field and go completely unblocked. That was a missed assignment by Yemi Babaloa, and that's too much speed on that side. They've run the option a couple of times at Orakpo. Boy, he's an awfully athletic guy. I think you might want to run it the other way.
Third down. They need to take it to the 21-yard line. Texas shows blitz off the left side, and here he comes. McGee all the way back in the end zone, and the ball is simply thrown away. And applying the pressure, number 40, Robert Killebrew, the senior out of Spring, Texas, just north of Houston.
And you see what Texas has done now. They've adjusted. They've already made an adjustment to their defense. They were dedicating so many guys to the run. Now Dwayne Akina and Larry McDuff, the defensive coordinators, that time bring a zone blitz. And Texas A&M not able to pick it up. That's a good adjustment by the defensive coaches of Texas, knowing that A&M has gotten into a throwing pattern, so now they can start playing more throw defense.
Justin Brantley prepares to punt it away for the Aggies. First punt for them of the afternoon. And this is a good one. Good long hanging spiral. Cosby all the way back to the 28-yard line. Now picks up a couple of blocks, and he'll return it to the 38. So let's take a timeout. 7:35 left in this opening quarter. Texas A&M 7-0 over the Texas Longhorns. HD presented by DLP HD TV. So following a beautiful punt by Brantley, Texas with a 10-yard return by Cosby and a scrimmage from their own 38. Big opening, 50, 45. Jamal Charles with his first long run of the afternoon is going to take it to the 43. Now let's take a look at the Texas starting offense presented by Sports Authority. Here's Roger Clements, former Texas All-American.
Thanks, Ron. The Longhorn attack is led by our ace, quarterback Colt McCoy, who's starting to look like Elway with his second half comebacks. Colt will be handing off to speed merchant Jamal Charles. Jamal has well over 600 yards rushing in his last 3 games. Up front is do-it-all Chris Hall. Leads this group looking to roll the Aggies in College Station this afternoon.
Roger Clemens, as I said, former great at Texas, also with the Boston Red Sox, and of course the New York Yankees. First down, Texas, with Jamal Charles with his longest gain of the afternoon, and Charles this time will go straight ahead for 2 and tackled by Henry Smith. Now let's take a look at the Texas A&M defensive starters. Here is play-by-play announcer Dave South.
Ron, the defensive front, 3 seniors anchor that, Bryant, Harrington, and Smith. The linebackers are Toupee and Dodge. The secondary, another senior, Carpenter. The 2 linebackers, Toupee had a church mission before he came here. Dodge had 4 years in the military before he came to A&M. They're old men. Gary Darnell gives them their ARP memberships at the end of the game today.
All right, Dave South, longtime play-by-play radio announcer for the Texas Aggies. Thanks, Dave. We'll hear him one more time when he introduces their offense as well. Charles, left side, sandwiched between two defenders, but he'll have about 3 yards. Tupe, one of the men that comes over to make the tackle along with Jordan Pugh, another of the linebackers. So now 3rd down Texas, and they need about 3 for the first down.
Well, and you're in that territory if you're Texas, even though Jamal Charles is trotting off the field right now. So you think they're going to bring in maybe Ogbonnaya yes, for pass protection, but Ogbonnia's gotten to be a pretty good runner. So for A&M, the tough part is you're in that tweener distance. I would think some type of play action if you have Ogbonnaya in the game.
This time Colt McCoy is under center, which is a rarity. And under pressure, breaks one tackle, tries to break another, and is going to be knocked out of bounds at the 37-yard line, short of the first down.
Again, excellent pressure by Michael Bennett.
Yeah.
And it's been a bunch of different guys up front.
Harrington also wound up applying pressure.
There's Bennett there working one-on-one. And what an excellent move that he threw on Trey Allen. That's a true freshman. Remember, Tony Hill's the normal player.
Sideline warning. Texas A&M. It's their first warning.
So Texas
is going for it on 4th down.
And I think it's the right call because, again, you're in that tweener distance.
Have to take it to the 33-yard line of A&M to pick up the first. McCoy, and it's going to be a pooch kick. And A&M runs away from it, and the ball is going to go dead at the 17-yard line. So we'll take a timeout. 5:48 left. Opening quarter, our score remains Aggies 7 and the Longhorns nothing.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, presented by Best Buy. This holiday, we'll help you put together perfect gifts. Saturn, with 5 totally new models, it's just something to rethink about. Saturn. Pacific Life, for insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. And Keystone Light, you can't always be smooth, but your beer should be.
Well, if you wonder what you're looking at, that's a very desolated College Station. No shots taken just a moment ago because the ball game has now started. There's nobody on the streets in College Station. They're all inside this stadium. And their Aggies lead it 7-0. Second time in a row that the Aggies have scrimmaged from deep in their own territory. And we'll see if they're able to get this one out and move the chains.
Texas A&M has been feeding off of the offensive line problems for Texas, and it's been the pass rush that really has gotten this game going for A&M, and see if their offense can feed off it once more. The offensive line, of course, with Dallas Griffin, the senior, out for the season with a knee. Tony Hills out with a broken ankle. Very young group, and right now it's not blitzes that's confusing them. It's just they're getting beat in one-on-one situations.
So from a shotgun formation, both Lane and Goodson in the backfield, they have gone option the last times that they have come in this formation, and that's what they do again. And shoved out of bounds is McGee. Now let's take a look at the Texas A&M starting offense presented by Sports Authority. Here again, Texas A&M radio play-by-play announcer Dave South.
Ron, it all starts on the offensive side with Stephen McGee, the quarterback, but we've got some seniors that have contributed. Fullback Chris Alexander, the wideouts are Irvin Taylor and Kerry Franks. There's a tight end, Joy Thomas. That offensive line is anchored by the likes of Wallace, Clark, Elder, and Yoder.
Thanks, Dave South. 3rd down, and they need about 7 yards. They need to take it out to the 27-yard line. And Goodson has been split out. So it's an empty backfield occupied only by quarterback Stephen McGee. Looks to throw. Got a quick hitter. Martellus Bennett, the tight end. And that's good for the first down. Now let's take a look at the Texas defensive starters. Here once again is Roger Clemens.
On defense, we've got Derek Lokey and Frank Oakham. Great players, great students with a 4.0 averages heading to law school. The linebackers are Rashid Bobineau and tackling machine Scott Deary. Our last line of defense is manned by the team's hardest hitter, Marcus Griffin. And the best coach in college football, Mack Brown, is looking for an amazing 7th straight 10-win season.
Roger Clemens and a couple of his young sons. It is first down A&M as they have the ball at their own 31-yard line. McGee stays in the pocket, throws complete. It'll be a short gainer just across the 34-yard line. Let's check on the sidelines again with Jack Arute.
Well, Ron, Ed Cunningham is absolutely right. The coaches have challenged this makeshift offensive line for the Texas Longhorns, saying that they need to play better football. And what they meant by that is the rushes that are taking place are really starting to force Colt McCoy to go faster and not go through his reads, Ed. They just finally got, as you would say, got their heads handed to them by the coaches there just a minute ago.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's not that A&M's bringing difficult blitzes. It's just they're getting beat man to man.
Again, shotgun, and again they keep the quarterback right in the pocket, throws right over the middle, has it complete to Taylor, and it's just short of the first down, I believe. It's checking in New York. Here is John Saunders. John?
Ron, a few of your folks watching saw this Verizon wireless update. Most of the country did not. Darren McFadden, 16 yards, the only touchdown in a game against LSU. LSU's offense struggling with just 2 field goals and problems moving the ball. Mississippi State trailed by 14-0 in the fourth quarter, got 17 straight points to get their 7th win of the season. Ron.
All right, John. 3rd down and short. Jaworski Lane gets the handoff, and Jaworski will power his way to the 44-yard line. Adewego makes the tackle out of the secondary for the Texas Longhorns. And let's take a look at the X Factor presented by Citi.
Well, you have one of the best rushing defenses in the country in Texas, sitting there at 10th. And of course, A&M comes into the game 19th in the country at almost 220 yards rushing. But even though that will be the X factor, and of course Jamaal Charles getting going, it looks like that off week A&M decided to go back to some plan from last year, spread it a little more and let McGee throw it a few more times.
Jaworski Lane right up the middle, head down, has 5, has 10, counted off at 12 yards. As Lane got a head down, got a good block from the left side of that offensive front. Snyder, Elder, and Wallace, and Eddie Jones finally made the stop.
Well, a lot of seniors, a lot of 5th-year seniors on this offensive line. And that was an excellent job. And when you let Jaworski Lane, listen, he's not the fastest guy in the world. He's not going to run a whole lot of sweeps. But right there, unfortunately for Marcus Griffin, he finds out what happens when Lane doesn't have to make a move until 4 or 5 yards down the field. He's got to come a little lower on those legs.
Mike Goodson comes back in a tailback, but he is split out. He's not in the backfield, so it's an empty set with McGee. And McGee steps up and throws to Bennett, the tight end. He is close to a first down as he goes inside the 35, tackled by McElroy. Near the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
Jumping out early for that player of the game, Martellus Bennett. Such a fine tight end. We've seen so many good tight ends in the Big 12 this year, but Bennett, the team's leading receiver, if you get him involved early, it becomes more difficult for the defense to have to try to defend him.
McGee now 8 of 10 for 100 yards and a touchdown.
Now, that was confusion in what they were doing. Goodson thought he was going into motion, so I believe you're going to end up with a procedure penalty on A&M. They didn't know what shift they were going to make.
Timeout, Texas A&M. It's their first timeout of the half.
Well, they got it just in time before the penalty.
2:36 remaining, opening quarter. A&M remains on top, 7-0. Powers his way inside the 28 to the 26-yard line. Adewego making a stop out of the secondary, but a gigantic hold on the right side of the line. Really good job by that Aggie offensive front.
Adewego slow to get up. Safeties are starting to take a pounding from Lane. And this offensive line for A&M, which coming into the season, everybody in this conference thought that A&M would probably have the most dominant offensive line in the conference, if not in the country. I mean, you had seniors all over the place. Cody Wallace, Kirk Elder, Corey Clark, Chris Yoder. It's a very veteran group with a lot of starts. And when you get Lane going at nearly 270 pounds, he doesn't have to make a move right now. Right now, Texas is doing nothing to slow down Lane at the line of scrimmage.
And Adewego, as Ed mentioned, slow getting up and now being assisted off the field.
And we saw the run before where Javorsky Lane ran right over Griffin, the other safety. So it looks like Ottawego is just going to go straight into the locker room for an assessment.
Eric Jackson will come in replacing him at strong safety. This is the 11th play of the drive coming up for Texas A&M. It all started back at the 19-yard line. Mike Goodson in the backfield at tailback. A&M scrimmages with a 1st and 10 at their Texas 26-yard line. Option play. Goodson now going to be knocked out of bounds at around the 20-yard line, and let's go to the sideline to check in again with Jackaroo.
Ron, you know, rivalry week across the country, there's all sorts of rivalries. This is a very special one, though. There's a rivalry with respect, but for Coach Dennis Franchione, it might be his final rivalry game for Texas and Texas A&M. And this week he said he really tried to make it special for all of his seniors. One of the things that they did is they asked each and every senior at their last meeting to stand up and tell everyone who they wanted to dedicate this game to. They are feeding off their early success on the sidelines here right now, guys.
Second down and short situation as the Aggies have played virtually all afternoon in front of the sticks. They lead at 7-0 and threatening again with the ball inside the 20. McGee gets outside at the 15 and now is going to be tackled hard at the 14-yard line. Robert Killebrew got outside to make the hit, but that is another A&M first down.
Well, it looks to me like, you know, one of the criticisms through the years, through this season about Texas A&M was they got so conservative in the run game. We showed you they're the 19th best rush team in the country, but they're down around 106, 107th in the country out of 119 in the pass. And McGee, who has a good arm, it seems to me that off week A&M went back to what people suspected they would do offensively this year, and the balance is really confusing Texas right now. That's not what they prepared for.
13th play of the drive coming up. Clock is about to hit 1 minute and 40 seconds left to play in this opening quarter. McGee fakes it into the line. He'll keep it into the boundary, and he's going to be dropped for no gain on this play. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Arakpo was there defensively.
The option is not working because of the speed on the outside of Texas. And when you see those inside runs, Javorsky Lane, I know a lot of guys want to run through their script. You're not getting much on that action to the left. I think come off of that script and go back up the middle. Even if it is Goodson, Lane or Goodson, I think you're going to have much better success right now running right at Texas instead of around them.
Mike Goodson is the man at the top of your screen as we go wide. The tailback is set way out there. Looking, it appears, against single coverage by, is that Derry? Is that a linebacker?
Sure looks like it.
Looking, and he's going a little too tall for Joe Thomas, who cut underneath as Goodson had driven the linebacker back into the end zone and out of the play, but he missed Thomas completely, and it's going to be a 3rd down and 10. Texas A&M.
And I think if you're A&M, you start thinking about the horrible field goal percentage you've had on the season, and you're at 3rd and 10. To me, I think every time in this area, because they have been so bad in field goals this year, that I think every time you're down here, you're thinking about going for it on 4th. So you could run a draw here, a very conservative call, because you may go for it on 4th.
Szymanski is only 13 of 23 in field goal attempts. It's Goodson in motion as they really spread out that Texas defense. McGee pass over the middle, ball is tipped and it's incomplete. It'll be 4th down, and from where the line of scrimmage is, this would be 32, I think, 32, maybe 33 yards.
Yeah,
Bobineau got a hand on that ball and tipped it.
Bobineau working one-on-one with Michael Schumart, but we were just talking about Matt Szymanski, a very highly recruited kicker who from 30 and beyond is only 6 of 16 on the season. So these are not automatic.
31-yard attempt coming from the far hash mark. Gets a good pass, and he got it. Crowd holding their breath there for a moment as he put it right over the top of the outside goalpost, and it is good. 10-0, our new score. Texas A&M leading the Texas Longhorns. We'll be right back. Some of the Corps of Cadets down on the sideline with the towels for the 12th man, which of course is a tradition that has been here for a long, long time in this campus. And in fact, across the way on the side of the stadium, the big sign reads, home of the 12th man. Cosby from the 8-yard line. Cosby 25 at the 30 and then is shoved out of bounds there. And let's go down and check in again with Jack Arute.
Hey, Ron, if you ask Colt McCoy the two most important games on the schedule for him, well, it's Texas Tech and Texas A&M. Mostly because of family ties, but also because of what happened 1 year ago up in Austin, Texas, when Colt McCoy early in the game was pasted. And he was suffered with a neck injury, and he was carted off the field. It gave rise to an entire speculation of nicknaming him here Cart McCoy. And he said, well, they want to see how tough I am? Have him come to the game this year.
Jamal Charles is going to take that one for a gain of maybe a yard, and Michael Bennett is there defensively.
It was Bennett, obviously, who knocked McCoy out of the game last year up in Austin. A clean hit. There was a not so clean hit earlier in the game that knocked Kellen Hurd, got ejected from the game. But Colt McCoy spent the offseason. He had the stinger coming into that game from the Kansas State game and really tried to fight. Jevin Sneed had already said he was going to transfer. He knew he had to play and just wasn't quite ready for it.
Quick pass, and quarter had come to an end.
Before the snap, the end of the first quarter.
So we will take a timeout, and as we head to the second 15 minutes of play, the opening 15, well, it was all Texas A&M. They lead it 10-0 as we head into the second quarter.